One Piece, Chapter 4, The Great Captain Morgan.
Welcome, brothers and sisters of the nation, Jim's Nerd Nation to be exact. I'm Jim, and I am here to review Chapter 4 of the epic tale of One Piece. So, let's dive right in. At the end of Chapter 3, we were left with Luffy, punching or slapping the shit out of her, whatever you want to say, Helmeppo, the member of the Lucky Sperm Club, which is what I like to call him from this point forward, and that'd be Captain Morgan's son. The chapter actually opens up with with him kind of shouting some idle threats at Luffy and running off to go cry to his daddy, which is ultimately what he did. He ran and he cried to his daddy. Luffy winds up going back and then speaking with Zoro, because now he has decided that he's going to allow him to join his crew, and he's actually going to ask him. So he goes back, and they have an exchange of words again, and Zoro, still is pretty adamant about, hey, I don't care what you say, kid, I don't care what kind of confidence you have, I'm not joining your crew. So at any rate, Luffy winds up, talking to him and finds out through poking and prodding with a few questions that he is a swordsman, a master swordsman. He asks him where his swords are. Zoro says that the member of the Lucky Sperm Club, Captain Morgan's douchey son, took them from me and is holding them, somewhere in the naval base, so in the fortress. So Luffy says, okay, great, well, I'll go get your swords, and then you'll have to come and join my crew because I'll have your swords, So he just runs off and does his own thing, and which I gotta respect, man. And couldn't we all be like that? Wouldn't it be refreshing? But anyway, Zoro just kind of is like, you gotta be kidding me, man. And so anyway, then it winds up going and cutting to, and we wind up meeting Captain Axehand Morgan for the first time, who just kind of looks like a big badass, just the way he's drawn and everything like that. But prior to that, we see some of his subordinates going, and we get a little insight into him. He has like this lockjaw looking thing. He reminds me of actually a character that was in the old He-Man Masters of the Universe, and the character was actually called Trapjaw, I believe. Trapjaw or Lockjaw. You'll have to Google that and let me know. It was back in the 80s, so long time ago. But he was one of the villains in there, so it looks very similar, his face does. And has obviously a big axe for a hand. So prior to seeing that, though, we see some of his subordinates going and working very hard to pull up, and they're standing up a statue, a tribute to him that apparently has been being worked on for many years. And he's bitching and complaining about why there's not more tributes or taxes or whatever. And one of the guys says, hey, everybody's broke and poor. And he says, it's not a matter of that, it's a matter of them disrespecting me. So he's got it in his head that even if you don't have money, you should still make money happen somehow because he should be respected. So anyway, while this is going on, the Lucky Sperm Club kid, is complaining, and he says, "Oh, and he struck me, father, and you've never even struck me before, and can't you're gonna have to kill him for me, And Captain Morgan basically just pushes him aside and says, "I'm not doing anything of the sort. He's done nothing directly to me." And he says, "But Dad, you've never even struck me before." And I thought this was kind of fitting, too. The father goes, "I've never struck you before because you're not even worth it. You're that worthless that you're not even worth me bruising my hand or a swinging of my arm, to hit you in the face. That's how low you are on the totem pole." So I thought that was kind of profound, So it wasn't only me and Luffy and a lot of the readers out there that thought this was this kid was a douchebag. So at any rate, though, while this is happening, it then goes and it kind of pans out to at the bottom of this naval base, this tower. They're up at the top, and they're putting the statue up, of course, so everybody can see. And they're at the bottom, Luffy and Kobe are, and they're talking about things. And Luffy's basically like, "What is everybody having a meeting? There's nobody around." And I'm just looking to see if I can find somebody to talk to because I want to get Zoro's swords back. So he uses his stretching power, and looks like another one of his special moves, so to speak. He's got the Gum Gum pistol. He says Gum Gum Rocket, and he's able to stretch and kind of propel himself up, and almost shoot himself like a slingshot. And I kind of think a lot of those things are pretty cool, to be honest with you. They're unique anyway. But he winds up getting up there to the top, overshooting his mark, and landing on the statue that's still in mid pull, from being pulled up by by Captain Morgan's guards or naval officers or whatever. He knocks the thing over. The thing, and prior to that, Captain Morgan almost took one of his guys' heads off just because he scratched the damn thing. So it winds up, the thing gets crushed and everything else. And it's also worth mentioning too, and I hate to backpedal here, that Captain Morgan did go and order the he wasn't going to go and defend his son's honor for being struck by Luffy, but when he found out that the little girl who had snuck into the yard there and basically committed an act of treason or whatever to try to feed Zorro, he orders one of his lieutenants to go and kill the girl. And the lieutenant says, I'm not killing a kid, and he says, but I'm your commanding officer and you will, and this and that. And he says, I am not killing a kid. And he winds up getting his head split in half for that and winds up being killed on the spot. So, again, we're just worth noting, gives you some backstory into the type of tyrannical monster that Captain Morgan is. So, and I mean, and right so. I mean, he now has his own rum, which I've drank much of over the years. So, but all joking aside, shit pretty much hits the fan once Luffy overshoots his target and breaks or destroys the statue. He goes and grabs the member of the Lucky Sperm Club because he goes, hey, you're the one I was looking for, because he knows that Helmeppo knows where the swords are, where Zoro's swords are. So he takes him, grabs him and, Daddy, help me. And he runs off into the fortress with him. And of course, Captain Morgan is just really pissed, and he says, I'll have his heart, or get me his heart. And then the chapter winds up ending a couple of pages later. We see a quick exchange between Kobe and between Zoro. And it was kind of profound, I thought, because Zoro was talking to Kobe and says, hey, what is the deal with this Luffy? I mean, he just gets something in his head. Does he realize what that statement is, to be the king of pirates? And Kobe says, yeah, but the thing is about him is, and it's like I said, you have to respect his heart, man. His heart and his charisma. I mean, he's going to do it or he's going to die trying. And I just, I found that pretty striking, and something that, that at least it touched me, and not in a weird way. So at any rate, nation, thank you very much for joining. If you liked the video, hit that like button. Don't be afraid to comment, as everybody's been doing so far. Certainly appreciate appreciate all the comments and all the help that everybody's giving me, and just trying to get better at this, and certainly subscribe if you haven't yet. Feel free to spread the word and to bring other people into the nation, because that's what it's all about. So I will catch you guys here in the next one, which by my accounts will be Chapter 5. So long.
Once again, nation, I hope you liked the video. Thank you for all the ongoing support. I'm going to keep doing these, as long as people keep enjoying them. So I'm definitely having a good time. Subscribe if you haven't already, and take a look at a couple of my previous reviews on the left and on the right. We'll see you in the next one.